Dennis here. Continuing with Mark's Gospel, chapter 10, reading from verses 46 to 52. Blind Bartimaeus receives his sight. Then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man, Bartimaeus, which means son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called him. The blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you." Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped on his feet and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. The blind man replied, "Rabbi, I want to see." "Go," said Jesus, "your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. In the narrative of today's reading, we learn that Jesus has an encounter with a blind beggar called Bartimaeus and performs his last miracle, his last act of mercy before entering Jerusalem. The persistent faith of the blind man is the focus of this story, and it is his faith that heals and saves him. In many of Jesus' healings, it is the person's faith that Jesus responds to. Faith comes from hearing God's word and believing his promises. We are not told how Bartimaeus heard about Jesus, but it is clear that Bartimaeus has knowledge of Jesus and by all accounts was aware of his miracles and healings. He also reveals who Jesus really is as the Son of God. This is a remarkable insight by a blind man, and Jesus responds to his request for mercy. When he hears that Jesus was passing by, he wanted to meet Jesus. He too wanted to receive healing. On learning that Jesus was asking for him, Bartimaeus immediately got up and cast aside his cloak. Here was a blind man believing in the Son of God without seeing or witnessing his miracles, and yet was prepared to give up everything to follow him. This is faith in action. His cry for help reflects God's promise in Joel chapter 2 verse 32, which says, "Anyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved." Jesus will not ignore the earnest cry for help. Jesus responds and rewards Bartimaeus with the gift of sight and entry into his kingdom and everlasting life. The cloak of a beggar is his most precious possession. It is his home, his blanket for warmth and protection from the elements, and his only means of income. Beggars typically sit with their cloak spread on the ground before them to catch coins tossed by passers-by. Sometimes, like Bartimaeus, we need help to get back on our feet, to throw off that which is holding us down, that which oppresses us, and that which blocks our path. Sometimes the things that we are most attached to, our money, our possessions, our time, are the very things that are holding us back from meeting Jesus. Jesus may feel far away or impossible to reach for some, but we can be assured that when we cry out to him for help and for mercy, Jesus will hear us. Today, Jesus is still asking that same question to each one of us. What do you want me to do for you? If you're hearing this message and are not yet a believer, or are living with guilt or experiencing burdens in your life, and you seek a different life than you're now living, then like Bartimaeus, there's only one answer. I want to see. And like Bartimaeus, if you're earnestly seeking Jesus, he will meet you where you are in your life right now. Jesus can open your eyes to a new transformed life, enriched with love and joy and peace and hope for the future, and in the knowledge that you will see his face on that great day when Jesus comes again to receive all believers into his kingdom. What a day that would be. Don't be put off by the distractions of this world. Accept Jesus' invitation today to believe and put your trust in him. And like Bartimaeus, choose to follow him. And I promise you, you will not regret that decision.